Hey, 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 what is going on? What's going on? It's the Young Pro Showcase. Josh Lockhart here. And this week we have an interesting story. So for all of my fellow associates and networkers and young pros out there, we are just at a huge event. That was the GoPro event with Eric Worre. 40,000 plus people on a super cool virtual platform. And so one of our good friends and fellow young pros was actually on stage at GoPro, shared his story, won $1,000 and hung out at Eric Worre's mansion. You can't call it a house. It was a mansion. And so you definitely want to check this out. Like, what happened behind the scenes? What was Eric Worre's house like? What was it like hanging out with all these people making, well over 7 figures a year? There was a whole bunch of them. And like, what was the real deal? So if you want to know about that, hang out with us. So I got my man out of California, Mr. Bhavan Singh. And so what's up, man? We saw you on the big screen. I remember like you were like, if anybody saw it, if you're in the chat, right, and you were at the event, like I see Mikkel, in the chat, say I was there. I want to know who was there. Say I was there so we can have a conversation. So if you were there, you saw all the video screens, right? If you saw the thumbnail on this, had all the wraparound video screens. And I remember I was watching, and like in the background behind the speaker, I see Bhavan. He's like, hey, I'm like, I know him. So that was super cool, man. But I already know the answer to it, but I'm sure you enjoyed the event, huh, Bhavan?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, crystal clear.
You know what? This was probably the most unreal, I don't even know if surreal, I guess that's the right word, experience ever. I mean, dude, you guys hanging out with Fraser Brooks and just, cracking jokes with Fraser and God, all the other speakers that were there was just an amazing feeling. I don't know if you have some questions you want to ask me or
yeah.
what?
Yeah, we've got some questions. I will say for those in the chat, right, if you had like a favorite speaker, if you're like, hey, what's Fraser Brooks really like, right? What's Boss Lee really like? We're going to find out together, but if you have those questions, you're like, what's the skinny on this person? What do they really like? Put those in the chat.
What if they say, when you say who is your favorite speaker and they say me?
I mean, that could be a thing too, right?
You never know.
Yeah. I don't want to limit yourself. So anyway, I don't even know, right? I'm clueless. Did you have to have a pass, or like how did this all start?
So many of you know about the GoPro 7-day challenge that Eric Worre did, that a lot of us plugged into leading up to the virtual GoPro. Well, he had an opportunity to purchase a platinum pass. Now, I wasn't going to do that because, I mean, that was a $5,297 ticket.
Whoa, okay.
And the platinum pass, what it entailed was hanging out at Eric Worre's house, watching GoPro all 3 days, a tour of the studio, and a platinum party on Monday night at Eric Worre's house. And so long story short, I told my dad, I said, Dad, you should buy this ticket. I mean, this would be great for you. And then many of you know, he gifted the ticket to me. So that's how that came about.
Oh, man. So, okay. Bunch of questions. Like, we all saw obviously the studio, but like, dude, just, take us through it. Like, what was that? Like, once you're like in the middle of it, cause we can only see like one angle. Like, I mean, what was that like?
So I will tell you, I'll start off with Eric Worre's house. How about that?
Yeah, from the pictures, it's not a house. Like the freaking,
it's like a 20,000 square foot. It's just, I was hanging out with his son for a little bit, and even his son was like, sometimes I come back home and I find something new in the house that I didn't even know was there. Dude, that's amazing. So I walked up to his house, and you guys, I had no idea what to expect that I was going to walk into. I mean, all I knew was everybody in that room was making over 7 figures a year. Some of them making multiple 7 figures a month. And here comes, little Bhavan Singh just trudging along. And yeah, I know. Yeah. Just trudging along. And you guys walking up through that front gate and just seeing, he has these blocks that you step on that are over water in front of his house. So he's got ponds everywhere. And, you walk in and it's just you guys can go on my Facebook, add me. I've done multiple lives from his house, but it was amazing. And you guys, I walked in and immediately made friends from all over. I'm good friends with one of the speakers that was a 7-figure earner from Australia, another one from Dubai, another one from Russia.
Was that the Russian guy? Was that the blonde-haired guy? He's like blonde hair, the dark.
Yeah, he. I
don't remember his name.
His wife spoke on the panel.
Okay,
his wife spoke on the panel. I don't know if he spoke. I can't remember.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
So had the party there. I'm just a big kid, so I'm like, man, what would a game of hide and go seek be like at that house? Right.
If you and I played a game of hide and go seek, Josh, I think we'd still be hiding in that.
No one's seen them. One's seen them. They're not around.
He has a indoor basketball court inside his house, not outdoor, inside his house. He's got 2 indoor studios that he records from. So all of the recordings that you've seen where he goes live, those are all in his in-house studios. He's got a gym. He's got a sauna. Dude, it's freaking, excuse my language. It's unreal.
Hey, this is the Young Pro Show.
You can cuss.
You can cuss.
Young Pros.
So for everybody out there, what's up, Dwayne, Marquita, what's going on? So listen, when you guys are like, yeah, one day I'm going to buy this house, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. What's your biggest thing? Put in the comment, what is your biggest thing that you would put in your house? You were always like, oh, if I had a house, I would get a hot tub, or I would do this, I'd do that. I just want to see what people would put in their house, but that's ridiculous. So let's stay in the house for a second. So you had the platinum party. What was that like? What was the party like?
Mind you, we were there every day from 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock and 9:30 at night every day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. And then the platinum party was last night. And that was amazing. Just an elaborate display of food everywhere. It was all catered, open bar, and what else? Music. It was just incredible. I don't even know how to put it into words. I can tell you this much. You all need to do the platinum pass for GoPro. I committed, man. After that, I said, you know what? There's no way I'm not doing anything less than the platinum pass for GoPro.
Wow.
If you want to grow your Legal Shield business, of course, don't get me wrong, plug into all of the trainings. But if you're going to use GoPro as a resource as well, commit to figuring out how to get into Eric Worre's house and being around him.
Yeah. I love these. Somebody put a volcano, a small soccer field, a gym, full basketball court. That's awesome. Good stuff. Well, I imagine dude, you're around that stuff and it's instantly you're like, I wasn't even thinking on this level, right?
Well, I've always thought on that level, but to actually experience it and to be in the studio is, when he says there's nothing like it in the world that exists, he's not joking, you guys.
So where's the studio? Is it
it's in Vegas?
I mean, is it like in some kind of warehouse type building or?
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes from his house.
Okay.
And it's convenient. His house is 9 miles from where I live. So I was like, oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But the studio, when you walk in, I mean, just on the cabling for the studio alone, they spent over $1 million just on the cabling.
Oh yeah.
You walk in and you guys have seen the screens that are all there, right? But when you go into the back room, there were, I think, 120 Apple computers, iMacs, 120 of them, each one representing, multiple Zoom rooms so they could monitor everything. I mean, it was insane to see it.
Yeah. Wow. And then, I mean, was it like, except for like where you walk in, was it like 360 pretty much?
The
cameras, the screens, and yeah.
It is 360. I think, God, I wish I wrote it down. She said that I think that there are 2 screens on the side, even though it's 360, there's 2 screens on the side and 2 smaller screens front and back, right? The big ones that we saw everybody on, I think those were, dude, I can't remember how big I mean, I can tell you this much: when I walked in and Marina Worre was playing different features on the screen when she gave us a tour, I mean, you felt like you were you get what I'm trying to say? Like you felt like you were in that whatever was on the screen. You didn't feel like you were in a studio.
Yeah. Now, did you like? That was the other thing, and honestly, it was a little bit like cheesy, but I liked it, like all the sound effects and like the clapping and stuff. Because it, like, I don't know if you've watched, like, anybody has watched any sporting events. I've watched UFC, and there's like no fans and there's no sound, so it's really creepy. And especially if UFC, like, you can hear them like hitting each other, and it sounds like. So I liked the filler. It made it sound like there's more going on. But like, did you actually feel like when you were on stage, did you feel like, oh, like people are here? Like,
no. I was, I'll give you a little backstory to that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So when we signed up, when you get in the GoPro, when Eric Worre promoted it, there was a VIP package and a platinum package. And both of those packages, you were invited into a GoPro speak off where the top 10 would speak on stage. And I remember we were on a private Zoom with Pat Quinn and Pete Vargas, the 2 that were hosting the speak off challenge.
Yeah.
And there was about 80 of us on there, maybe 90 of us on there. And I said to Pat, he opened it up for questions, and I said to him, I said, hey, I don't think I deserve to be in the speak off challenge. I don't have a story. I mean, almost everybody here is making, they're the rags to riches type of story. I'm still in that phase. I haven't, quote unquote, arrived yet. Right. Not that any of them arrived, but you get what I'm trying to say?
Well, yeah.
And Pat said, he actually told me, it's not about, how much money you made. He's like, you've got a story to tell. So that's why when you heard me share my story on stage, I was actually on a private call with him about 2 or 3 hours. No, yeah, like 2 or 3 hours before we went on stage. And Pat told me on the call, he said, I got to tell you, man, you have a very ordinary story. And I said, oh, shoot, there's no way in heck I'm going to win with an ordinary story. And he said, no, you don't understand. You don't want the 1 in a million story, because if you have a 1 in a million story, you're only going to appeal to 1 in a million.
Yeah.
When you have an ordinary story, you appeal to the masses.
Yep.
So that's when I was like, so here's the funny thing though. We had to submit our videos for the GoPro challenge by Monday, I think Sunday or Monday, the week of GoPro. And so I submitted my video. You guys, I recorded that. I think I spent like 2 hours. Every time I recorded, I'm like, crap, this doesn't look right, or this doesn't look good. I messed up here. What? Because he gave us a format, right? So the video I submitted it like towards the last minute, right? Before the cutoff time. And the only reason I submitted it was because I was so frustrated with recording it over and over again. I'm like, it looks like crap. I don't care. I'm just going to send it in. So I sent it in, and then we're sitting at Eric Worre's house, and all of a sudden, I'm chatting with some of the millionaires that are there, and my phone is blowing up, and they're like, top 25, Bhavan. I'm like, what the hell? So I looked at that. And anyway, so that night, Pat Quinn came back to Eric Worre's house with Pete Vargas. So I went up to him and I said, hey, Pat, I'm Bhavandeep and everything. And this was a funny thing. This was on Friday night. They hadn't announced the top 10 yet, right? So Pat was leaving. And when he was leaving, he came up to me. I said, hey, Pat, have a great evening. It was a pleasure meeting you. And Pat told me, he said, hey, nice meeting you. I'll see you on stage tomorrow. And I was like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. But Pat kept telling Pete Vargas, like, hey, watch out for this guy's story. I'm telling you, it's a great story. And Pete kept coming up to me saying, hey, man, I heard your story and I'm excited for you. So they kind of hinted that I was going to be at the top 10. Yeah. But I didn't know. Here's the cool thing. On Saturday, I'm at Eric Worre's house in a room full of 30 people from all over the world that are, again, 7-figure income earners. And there's like 3 of us that were there that, got the ticket that were not 7-figure earners, right? And I became friends. The lady that shared her story on stage with me, we were the only 2 that were on stage. She and I became super close, like very good friends, right? But it was so funny when they announced the top 10, I didn't know that I was on the top 10. I missed the announcement. And when they said my name, you guys, the whole house just looked at me and started cheering. Yeah. I was like, holy crap. These are like people from all over the world. This is the second day I'm seeing most of them, That's awesome. And then, of course, that night we went on stage. It was nerve-wracking because, Josh, you've seen me. I love public speaking. I've spoken on some stages. I've done some Super Saturdays and stuff. I love doing that. But when you got 40,000 people from 120 countries watching you, it was just, I was like nervous. I didn't know. Yeah.
So I'll say a few things on that, right? So like where you mentioned about like recording and Mikhail, he's in the chat talking about that, right? If you have not recorded yourself, here's my challenge to you, right? Here's my challenge to you. Record yourself in a 60-second video. And of course, if you're in the Young Pros, put it in the chat. I dare you. So what's going to happen is the first time you do it, it's probably going to be longer than 60 seconds. You can be like, oh crap. And then you're going to start again. And then you're going to say like, you're going to probably say your name wrong, or your tongue's going to stop working. The angle's going to be wrong. You're going to have some food on your face. Like it's nuts. Like you're like, I speak for a living. And then all of a sudden you put a camera in your face. It's a different level. So, right. If you're up to the challenge, 60-second video, your story, put it in the Young Pro chat, and we'll celebrate you. That's number one.
Can I say something on that real quick?
Yeah.
I just wanted to, if it's okay, I don't know how much time I've got.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I just wanted to give a quick layout for what Pat Quinn shared with us on how to share our story properly.
Definitely.
So, we heard it in Legal Shield. They always talk about, where you were prior to Legal Shield, what you didn't like, and then, what Legal Shield means to you and where you're at right now, right? Or what it's done for you, right? So when Pat Quinn had us share our story, here's the thing. We had 3 minutes to share. Pat said, if you go 3 minutes and 1 second, you will not win, guaranteed. He's like, if you go above 3 minutes, consider yourself not making it to the top 25 or anything.
You got to be that way.
Yeah. He said, keep it simple. But this is what he gave us a layout. Oh, yeah. He gave us a layout for how to share the story. Okay. So he said, there's the opening. You want to appeal. If you guys are writing this down, you want to appeal to the heart. The opening is to appeal to the heart. Then you have the content, which is to appeal to the head. Then you have the call to action, which is, he says to the hand, that's giving them an activity to do. And then you close it off by appealing to the heart again. So in that opening, you talk about where you were prior to, of course, on stage, we said network marketing. Now, mind you, this is a little bit different because we're speaking to network marketers. Obviously, tailor your story to when you're talking to a prospect, but you want to hit 3 points about what you didn't like. So I said, hey, my name is Bhavan. Prior to Legal Shield, obviously I said network marketing, but we're all Legal Shield, so I'll say Legal Shield. So hey, Bhavan, prior to Legal Shield, I was a 22-year-old college dropout. And quite frankly, I found myself being very negative. I had no direction in my life, no faith in myself. And to be honest, I was a disappointment to my parents. Those are 3 things, right? Or I felt like I was becoming a disappointment to my parents. Those are the 3 things. Then you talk about the pivot, what changed. So you know what? I joined Legal Shield, but when you talk about the change, you want to hit a pain point because that's where people can relate to you. So I said, I joined Legal Shield, but what changed for me was when my mom got diagnosed with cancer. In that moment, I had to make a decision that I have to make this work. And what happened as a result of that? So the first thing that you talked about that was a negative in your life will be the first thing that you talk about that's a positive in your life. And it doesn't have to be money related, because money related, I was sharing this on Mr. Carruthers, our team call, money related is not necessarily the point. The average person may not be able to say, hey, or relate to being broke and now being worth millions of dollars, because maybe they just don't see themselves here. But if I can say, I was, had no direction in my life. Thanks to Legal Shield, I have direction in my life. I had no belief in myself. Thanks to Legal Shield, now I have belief in myself. I was a disappointment to my parents. Thanks to Legal Shield, my parents actually told me they were proud of me. Those are things that people can relate to. So What I did was I said, and again, this is where, I hope it's okay that I can say this, but you guys, we know this stuff. Like when Pat Quinn was sharing this with everyone on there, in my head, I'm like, dude, this is exactly what we learn in Legal Shield on how to tell a story, right? So I used a pain point. I didn't say, thanks to Legal Shield, I'm making millions of dollars, because I'm not. I said, thanks to Legal Shield, I got to spend the last few months of my mom's life with her, and I would not have been able to do that at a job. That is something that people can relate to, right? So that's appealing to the heart, right? And then, I don't know if I have time to go into everything else. I feel like going into everything else would be more so to share our story if we're sharing it like on a 3-way call or, a Legal Shield testimonial or something. Not necessarily.
We'll get you on a Young Pro call, man. We'll get you on a Young Pro call. It's been a while. You need to come back.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. Also, if you would like to see, if anybody's not following the Young Pros Instagram page, for our folks on YouTube, it's in the description, but it's at @LS_Young Pro. We have a lot of our Young Pro Elite, their stories, their testimonies, but we don't have Bhavan's, right? So Bhavan, we got to get you on there, man. 60 seconds.
I'll do it.
All right. Send it to me whenever you're ready. We'll get it up.
Absolutely. I'll just send you. Yeah. I'll do it today and send it to you.
Yeah. Phone sideways. That's the only requirement. It's IG. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Okay. That's incredible. So I wanted to ask this, right? Because anytime that you're around people like that, right? We used to say things like the meeting after the meeting is so important, right? The in-between times, right? So there's the training. And a lot of times, training's fantastic, but you get like your 3 points in a poem, right? This, and then you're like, so it's kind of superficial isn't the right word, but it's surface level, maybe is a better way to say that. So what is something that you took away or gained that you're like, man, I'm so glad I was here, that you got from behind the scenes, hanging out with those people that the rest of us didn't get on stage watching?
Honestly, just being able to God, there's so much, dude. I don't even know how to answer that. There was so much. For me, it was just being in that environment.
Yeah.
You know, to have Fraser Brooks just come up and tell me that, hey, you did an incredible job. That's what did it for, you know, I mean, I got to, you know, I know a lot of you on here are maybe part of Darnell Self's team. I'm part of Brian Carruthers' team. But to just hang out with Darnell Self. Now, I hung out with him before when he came to SoCal. You know, we had all you can eat sushi and stuff. But just to hang out with him and develop a deeper relationship with him in the house, and then to have him come up to me and give me a big hug and to say, you did an incredible job on stage. And then he's on a Zoom with Mike Humes and I think Alistair Edwards, and I walk by and he turned the phone and they're telling me, good job, congratulations, and all this stuff. You guys, it's not necessarily the words that people shared with me. It was literally just being in the environment. To walk in and say, holy crap, I almost said, sorry, to say, holy crap. But that's what I'm feeling like. Dude, you understand, I'm 35 years old, you guys. This is the first time I looked at that and I said, this is not impossible. There's nothing different. You know, I was talking to Tony Zalecki. Him and his wife, if you guys remember, they got honored as a new millionaire, $1 million Hall of Fame. And this was incredible, you guys. This couple is probably one of the nicest couples I've ever met.
Yeah.
Now, here's the cool thing. I asked them, I was talking to them. They gave me and my friend Robin, who was the other lady on stage with me, they gave us some words of advice, like to keep it simple. You know, you got this. They were cheering for us, just a very humble people. But yesterday at Eric Worre's mansion, I was talking to Tony Zalecki and I said, hey, I got to ask you, how long have you been with your network marketing company to make a seven-figure income? And he said, I've been with them for 6 years. And my first thought was, damn, I've been with Legal Shield for 13 years. What am I doing wrong? But he then followed that up by saying, now this is important, you guys, because a lot of us might feel like we're stuck. This is the important thing he said. He said, even though I've been with my current company for 6 years, I was in the industry for 23 years.
Oh, gosh.
For 20 years. So it took him 14 years to figure this thing out before he found his home company and accelerated to a 7-figure income. Now here's the fascinating thing. I met 7-figure income earners that are members of Legal Shield.
Yeah.
You guys, we have an incredible opportunity. So my point in saying that is we can't compare. I would always if this is a good takeaway, Josh, this is what I got. I would always compare and say, man, how did Aaron Browning get 6 figures in 2 years, multiple 6 figures? How did Marty and Isra Wynn get multiple 6 figures in 2 years? Here's the reality. All of these people that I met that shared their, you know, what seemed like such a quick story to success had a backstory which gave them that growing process.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Zalecki was in network marketing for 14 years, and then he figured it out, found what worked, and accelerated 6 years later to $1 million income. That's what I got from this. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a learning curve. So wherever we're at, so I can look at myself and say, man, I've been here for 13 years. What am I doing wrong? I started when I was 22, I'm 35. But now my mindset is different. It's like, hey, wait a minute. It took them 14 years before they figured it out. Then they broke 6 figures. Then they broke 7 figures. I'm at the 13th year. I'm coming up on my 14th year in March of next year. So here's my point. I'm going to break a 6-figure income next year. And a few years, by the time I'm 40, I'll be in that $1 million Hall of Fame because now I see it. I feel it. I know it's attainable.
That's awesome. That's incredible. That's incredible. And I believe you. That's the thing. If you believe Bhavan, just put in the chat, I believe, give him some love. And, you know, I think we're going to end it there. I mean, anything after that would just be like kind of spiraling down. So Bhavan, man, I appreciate you. We definitely we got to get you back on one of our Young Pro calls. We'll set that up. And on that note, tomorrow for all of our Young Pros, if anybody would like to join our Young Pros email and text list, we have one of those folks that's been in the industry, made money for a long time in our business, and just went out and all of a sudden did, their income was kind of like this, and then it was like, poof, and hit for over almost 500K this year. Is going to be on our Young Pro call tomorrow. So if you want to get on that, youngprosambassador.com, youngprosambassador.com. It's a form you can fill out, get on our notifications list for tomorrow. So, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. I'm super hyped because, I had to know, right? I don't even care about anybody that's watching. I had to know what it was like. So I definitely appreciate you hanging out with us. And we'll see everybody. Get me that Instagram video, man. We'll put it up. I'm looking forward to it.
And can I just share one more thing real quick?
Absolutely, man.
When I shared my story on stage, it went in front of all those people. I want you guys to keep in mind something. I was talking to, it was literally me, Robin, the other lady, and Pat Quinn in the studio right before we went on stage. And Pat Quinn told us that there were, he reminded us, he said, when you're sharing your story, he said, there are people that are 7-figure income earners who didn't make it to the top 10. The lady that got first place is not a 7-figure income earner. So I know I'm all over the place, but I can't stress this enough. Wherever you're at in your Legal Shield business, you have a story to tell. Guys, I got messages from people in other countries on Facebook saying, thanks for sharing your story. It inspired me. It gives me hope. I had Indians from India telling me, so great seeing another Indian on stage in network marketing. You guys, wherever you're at, even if you're brand new today, you have a story, because you can say, prior to Legal Shield, I had no hope, no vision. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. But thanks to Legal Shield, which is my pivot, I now see the light at the end of the tunnel. I now see that I have hope for the future. I now see that I can retire my family. You all have a story to tell. It has nothing to do with how much money you've made. Your story is your story, and your story will inspire millions of people if we all just get off our butts and go out there and share our story.
Yeah.
The more we share our story, the more people will be, I've had friends message me saying, dude, I want to know what you're doing. I saw you share your story at this event and I heard about it. I want to know what you're doing. Go out there, share your story, and let's all go out there and make December an incredible month with momentum going into 2021. I'll see all of you at the platinum level next year. Love you guys.
Let's do it. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll see everybody who's in the Young Pros tomorrow night. You guys have a good one. Take care.